Morning. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, TikTok and Instagram. We should be live now on all platforms. And I apologize, it's saying to reconnect my Facebook. Give me just 1 second. I want to make sure everybody can access this. Okay, we should be good to go. Good morning. Beautiful Sunday morning. So we are filming another episode of Soul Talk Radio. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Today's episode is going to be about breaking out of productivity culture, right? That toxic culture and idea that we live in, that we need to be productive all the time. We're going to talk about that, as well as I'll give you tips to help break free from that idea and just live a more balanced and calm life, right? We don't need to be productive all the time, but yet we're taught that that's what we're supposed to do. So let me get back to StreamYard. Sorry, I want to make sure I can see your comments. Okay. So yeah, this topic kind of came up for me this week, and so I felt called to talk about it on Wednesday. Actually, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I wasn't feeling very good, just tired. Especially Wednesday. I think Wednesday was probably the full moon. I just felt all day, I just wanted to take a nap. I felt like I was getting sick, but I wasn't sick. And I feel great now. Like Friday, yesterday, today, I feel fine. So maybe it was just, an energy level thing, or I was pushing myself too hard. We tend to do that. I still work, a full-time job as a legal assistant right now. And that job can be very stressful at times and take a lot out of me. And then I feel like I don't have a ton of energy to give to the things that I really want to be giving my energy to, like my business and my LLC and that sort of stuff. So I want to talk today about, these issues that we all face, feeling like we need to be productive all the time, even if it includes, still being quote unquote productive, even when we're not feeling like 100% ourselves. So on Wednesday in particular, I have a Toastmaster meeting every Wednesday. I don't know if you guys know what Toastmasters is. I can explain it another time. It's an international public speaking group, to help you improve your public speaking skills. And so I go in person every Wednesday to this meeting. And like I said, Wednesday, I was tired and I didn't want to go. But I thought to myself, you made a commitment to them. You need to go. I took a COVID test just to make sure like everything was fine. It was negative. Again, I think it was a combination of things that I just was feeling very down. I felt like about like 40 to 50% my normal energy level. And I had heard this quote recently, which kind of helped me get through that moment when I started to get down on myself, those thoughts of, you're not being productive. You're not going to be your full self at that meeting. Why go if you're not going to be your full self, your full energy level? You're not giving them everything that they need, that sort of thing. Those really negative, self-critical judgment thoughts started coming up. And I told myself, listen, right now, I only have 40% to give. I'm sitting here at 40% my energy level, and that's all I have to give. And if I'm giving 40% and all I have is 40% to give, I'm giving 100%. And it completely changed my mindset in that moment around this idea that we need to be productive all the time. And it's like, we can still be, how do I explain that? There was just a mindset shift in that moment. And I find that really helpful. And there's also been days where, I've been sick or whatever. We've all had those days where we're not functioning at our 100% energy level or whatever it is. And we tend to get very down on ourselves during those moments because we're like, well, I'm not putting forth everything that I need to be putting forth right now, and I'm not being productive enough, whatever it is. But it's like, if you only have 10% to give and you give 10%, you gave 100%. And like, let that be enough. We have to work to release the guilt that we feel around being perfect and productive all the time. First of all, it's just not possible. No person runs like that all the time. And it's not healthy for us either. Like, creativity and 100% productivity all the time, they don't mesh. Like, you're not being your most authentic and creative self when you're quote unquote productive all the time. Another kind of piece of this conversation is too, I truly feel like taking time to rest should be part of our quote unquote productivity blueprint, right? Like, we need to take time to rest, like, and not feel guilty while we're resting, which all of us do. We sit there like, oh, I could be doing so many things and I feel bad that I'm not doing those things and I'm a horrible person, mother, friend, daughter, whatever it is. But it's like all of us needs that time, right? So, I want to go into a few ideas and like tips that can help us find better balance and kind of navigate this productivity culture that we live in. So, one thing that I do, and I've talked about this, I think, in the last episode, is I cultivated a morning routine, which I think really helps me start my day on a calmer note. I know that some people are probably hearing morning routine and they're like, you're just adding more shit for my to-do list. Like, I hope that you don't see it that way. Um, but when I started getting up in the morning and I write in my gratitude list and I write, like, if I had a really great dream, I usually always remember my dreams. I'll write down what happened in the dream, and then I meditate. I sit there in silence for, whether it's 5 minutes, if that's all the time I have, or 20 minutes. And I possibly do breath work or a chanting meditation, or maybe I do tapping, which I can talk about in a different episode. But all of those things help bring me down to a more calmer and balanced state before I start my day. Because another thing that I wanted to talk about in this is when we're being quote unquote busy or productive all the time, our bodies tend to feel the effects of that, right? Like, our bodies become very tense, and it can create disease in the body because we're just like on all the time, which isn't our normal flow. It's not how humans are supposed to be living. We're supposed to be flowing through our days with ease, right? But we're so programmed to believe that we need to be like on all the time. It's just not feasible and it's not healthy. And it's causing damage to our bodies and our minds and our lives and our mental health. So I really wanted to address this issue with you guys because we all struggle with it, me included. There will be days where I'm at work and I get kind of so caught up in what needs to be done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has to be done right now, and this is urgent, and I just need to finish it. And I become so tense, like trying to finish what I'm doing, that I forget that this work is not ever more important than me, than what I need, than what my body needs, what my energy level needs, like what my health requires of me. So when I notice that I'm getting really tense and pursuing that productivity culture, um, I typically try and stop, and I take inventory of how my body's feeling. Okay, how am I feeling right now? My body's very tense. Okay, what can I do? Let's do some breath work. Maybe I'll do Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. That's one of my favorites to kind of bring me back into the moment. And another thing that I've started implementing is I have an alarm on my phone that goes off twice a day where I take what I now call my sacred breaks. And during, like, when that alarm goes off, regardless if I'm in the middle of an urgent task or not, I have told myself, you are taking this 10 minutes to do something for you. Like whether it's stretching or I go for a quick walk or I sometimes I'll just sit on my floor and hug my bolster like in child's pose and just sit there and rest and breathe. Or I'll pet my dog or we'll play fetch, whatever it is, taking that time to either do nothing or do something that is supportive of my health, of my mental health, my physical health, my family's health, whatever it is, right? And we have to remember the importance of that and continue to pursue. This is one of the things I'm going to talk about today. Continue to pursue those breaks throughout our day, right? So, along with meditating in the morning, I talked about taking mindful breaks. Another thing that I'll do is, like, let's say sometimes my mind gets in this like loop of everything that I have to do that day. Oh my God, I have to do this, 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 and this. And it starts to kind of get a little overcrowded with all of the things I have to do. Me personally, I have found it really helpful to write those things down and then just release them. If they get done, they get done. Regardless, I won't forget about them. They're on a piece of paper, on a post-it, in my phone, whatever it is. Like I have a to-do list app in my phone. I'm not going to forget about them, and I don't have to keep now repeating them in my head over and over and over, right? And just creating that to-do list and like getting all of those thoughts out of my head onto paper, and I will get to them when I get to them. So we have to, this is just some additional tips on how to kind of shift what's going on. We have to prioritize our rest, whether that's just, like I said, simply taking those mindful breaks throughout the day, those little pieces of time to rest, whether it's resting the moment we come home from work and just taking a moment to decompress and telling the people around us, like, I love you, but I don't want to talk right now. I'm just going to go in the room. I'm going to decompress for a little while, and setting that boundary. Or whether it's doing that right before bed or taking a bath, like taking time. And rest isn't, I know I'm using examples of rest while doing an activity like taking a bath. You're resting, but it's still doing an activity. Rest can simply be resting, laying down, doing nothing, taking a nap, and us trying to not feel guilty about that, listening to our bodies and what our bodies need and giving that to them. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week, every single day I took a nap. I think on Wednesday I may have taken 2 or 3 naps because it's like I couldn't get enough. I was so tired, and that's what my body needed. And so I kept, when those negative feelings would come up, negative thoughts would come up, like you're not doing what you need to be doing, you're not being your most productive self, whatever it is, I would tell myself, no, this is what I need. This is me honoring myself, honoring my body, honoring what it needs, right? And I continue to repeat those things anytime those negative criticisms come up when I'm trying to take rest for myself. So, learning to say no. Oh my God, this was a hard one for me for a long time. Anytime I would say no, it always came with an explanation as to why I was saying no. Maybe it was, do you want to go to this party? Do you want to hang out with this friend? Do you want to go to this event? Somebody recently reached out to me, which I thought was a great idea. It was like a sponsorship thing for athletic wear, which I would love to do in the future. But right now, I just don't have the time for it. Like I'm pursuing other things. My week is full, and I don't have additional room right now to think about doing that. And so I just nicely said no. But I remember there being a time in my life where saying no to anything, there was so much guilt. But it's like we have to work on saying no and not feeling guilty about it. We're honoring what we need. Sometimes I don't want to go to that event. Sometimes I may love whatever friend is inviting me out, but I just don't want to go. Whether it's I just don't want to go to that particular event or I'm just too tired to hang out right now, and that is okay. And being okay with just saying, no, I'm sorry. Thank you for inviting me, but no. And it doesn't need any additional explanation. Like, no is a complete sentence. So, another thing, like we've talked about, is, working to release the guilt. I think that not only the guilt around saying no, but like the guilt around taking time to rest, taking breaks, pulling away from that productivity culture and working to work at a calmer and more relaxed rate, like prioritizing our body, our health, our mental health, checking in with the body, seeing how it's feeling. Is it tense? Is it stressed? Is my breathing labored? Is my jaw tight? Like checking in with all of those things. Are my shoulders tight? Am I hunched forward, which I'm actually doing right now? And checking in on all of those things to make sure, am I healthy? Am I at my healthiest that I can be in this moment? And then moving forward from there. We cannot, I know this quote is so cliche, but I mean, stuff that's cliche is cliche because it's true. Like, we cannot give from an empty cup. We cannot pour from an empty cup. We have to prioritize our own health first and then move from there, right? So I hope that some of these things helped you. And this week, I would really like for you to take one of the things that we talked about and work to implement them, whether it's setting an alarm on your Outlook folder or on your phone to take time for you, to take a break, to take what I'm calling my sacred pauses, my sacred breaks, and do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's taking a 10-minute nap, going for a walk, whatever it is. But, excuse me, prioritizing yourself and what you need in that moment. Okay? So, thank you so much for joining me today. This was the second episode of Soul Talk Radio. We're doing these episodes every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And we record these episodes, and then I'm going to be posting them to every major podcasting platform on Monday mornings at 7 a.m. So if you miss the live version, you can always tune in there. And until next week, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be joyous and at ease. Until next time, infinite love.